Hi, I'm Matt from PlaiOfficial, and today I'll be discussing with you some of the changes that are coming up for Holy Paladins and Mists. Now, looking at the first level 15 tier of talents, I can see pretty much they're all about mobility. Got Speed of Light, which is basically the same as it is now, apart from it lasts for 8 seconds and it's a 70% movement speed increase, 3% of base mana, so we're talking, compared to now it costs about 800 mana, so it's nothing. Long Arm of the Law, whenever we judge, 45% movement speed increase for 3 seconds. And then Pursuit of Justice, 10% movement speed at all times plus an additional 10% for each current charge of Holy Power. Now, because of the passive bonus we get at level 85, we now can store up to 5 Holy Powers. So assuming this works off up to 5, then when we have maximum Holy Power, this could be a 60% constant movement speed increase as long as we're keeping our Holy Powers up. So to be honest, Pursuit of Justice PvE, like especially longer fights, could work out like really beneficial kind of thing. But fights maybe such as Ragnaros, where you've got to have the instant movement speed to get out of the traps quite often, Long Arm of the Law, or maybe such as fights like, you might be on Madness or Deathwing, to get from one platform all the way over to another, Speed of Light might help you a lot. So, I guess they're all pretty situational, depending on the fight. Plus, the only problem is with Long Arm of the Law, is you will have to be in range of something to judge to be able to get that movement speed increase. So moving on from the mobility tree, we have more of a kind of CC tree up next. 6 seconds stun on 30-second cooldown. Repentance, which looks exactly the same as it is now, apart from the fact it has a 1.5 second cast. And also 50% movement speed reduction using from your judgment. I can imagine Burden of Guilt being probably best in PvP for probably rep pallies, maybe prop pallies if they're still viable. Repentance, to be honest, I can't really see many cases in PvP this will be useful at all, with 1.5 second cast, and it figures about a 6-7 second lockout. Fist of Justice is on half the cooldown, doesn't have a cast, and it's about the same sort of CC time, so I can see Fist of Justice being better than Repentance. However, maybe if you're lacking CC in your raid group, Repentance could be a good thing. So I think, again, they're really kind of situational sort of things. So we've had our mobility kind of tree, we've had our CC, what's next but survivability. Talents in here are really looking very good, to be honest. I wish I could pick all 3, but Blizzard have forced us into only being able to pick one. So our first talent, we're looking at basically every 8 seconds you reduce cast time of your Flash of Light by 50% and increase the healing it does by 50% when you heal others with it. As a rep pally or prop pally, to be honest, I can't really see many uses for this. I can imagine them probably going into Sacred Shield if anything, or possibly Eternal Flame, which is kind of a hot you put on yourself. It's a Holy Pally, Selfless Healer. I guess it might be good in PvP, because even more instant casts, but honestly I really am probably leaning towards Eternal Flame or Sacred Shield. I like the idea that with Sacred Shield, it's kind of makes you maybe a semi-wannabe Disc Priest kind of thing, and also increases a critical chance of your Word of Glory on the target by 30%. That will last 30 seconds, that buff, so maybe, possibly, we could just kind of keep that rolling on a tanky. Again, Eternal Flame, I can see this being really good, it's basically a hot something that Holy Pallies never really dreamed of getting like anywhere recently, apart from our kind of Holy Radiance we've got, but it never really worked out as a successful hot. It was more of a, the hot's kind of a little extra thing that happens after the initial heal, in my opinion. So Eternal Flame, it might be really good maybe for a rep pally or a prop pally to keep up on you to kind of balance your health out in PvP, and if you're a prop pally, kind of balance your health out in PvE more, Now our next tree is kind of an additional survivability tree, but it's focused more around of our hands kind of thing. So for a start we have Hand of Purity, which is a 70% damage reduction on dots against us for the next 6 seconds. Can be cast on anyone, so I guess it could be used in PvE still, you know, if you've got like the Ragnaros dot on a tank, it could be popped up on them. If you keep it on cooldown, it'd have about 10% uptime, so it could be effective for rep pallies and things, you know, especially if you're against class such as a Warlock or a Fire Mage in PvP. Next, Unbreakable Spirit. This will probably be the one I will be going for in PvE myself, as it will basically mean that hopefully you might be able to get 2 Divine Shields and 2 Lay on Hands per fight instead of just the one, because obviously Divine Shield is very powerful, you know, Bubble Hearth is always a good way out, I guess, and Lay on Hands, basically I can pretty much consider it a combat res myself. The last one, Clemency, I see where this is going. If anything, I think this would probably maybe be best for tanks or something, just kind of to give the tank a bit of extra utility. The Hand of Freedom, that's only on a 25-second cooldown, so blowing a 5-minute cooldown for that's a bit iffy. Hand of Protection, Hand of Sacrifice, I can kind of see where it's coming from, you know, it's just if you need the hands more often to help you group out. It might be good if you're a bit lower geared, but overall I'd probably prefer one of the others in both PvE and PvE situations. Moving on to the next tree, we've kind of got, I guess, more of a cooldown enhancing as we're kind of building up levels and players become more experienced. Got Holy Avenger, which basically our Guardian of Ancient Kings, which does the same as it does now except it's on a 3-minute cooldown, will now make your next 5 abilities that consume holy power cast as if they had 3 holy power, however not consume the holy power themselves. So obviously you could blow Guardian of Ancient Kings, cast 5 Word of Glories, they'd be super powerful from your Guardian, they'll be doing AoE healing from your Guardian, and basically you'll get a massive chunk of free healing. I think that's what Blizzard are kind of trying and do there, you know. Very good if, you know, again you're lower geared, you're running out of mana a bit. That's definitely kind of I can see it being good in some places, but I'm not sure if it'd work out better than these others, to be honest. Sanctified Wrath, for Holy, your Holy Shock has no cooldown. This, to be honest, could be basically as long as your Avenging Wrath is up. You know, you could do triple Holy Shock, then Light of Dawn, or triple Holy Shock. Word of Glory is basically ultimately free healing. However, some people could argue that the 20% healing increase from Avenging Wrath is what you use it for, rather than more of a mana saving cooldown, I guess. So this would be more finding the right balance, I guess. This is probably depends more on your play style, if you prefer the 20% healing increase from Avenging Wrath, or if you'd prefer to use it as kind of more efficient healing sort of cooldown. For Protection, your Judgment has no cooldown. If again the tier 14 4 set or 2 set ends up that your Judgment can bubble you, that might be very effective, you know, as more of a damage reduction cooldown. Retribution, your Hammer of Wrath has no cooldown. Well, that says enough itself. If someone's below 20% PvE or PvP, you're gonna do some pretty insane DPS as long as that is up. The Divine Purpose talent, above all, honestly, in my opinion, probably best for boss fights. However, the other two do seem a bit more appetizing, but that's just my opinion. It makes your abilities that cost holy power have a 15% chance to cause your next ability that consumes holy power free and be cast as if it had 3 holy power. So every time you Light of Dawn or Word of Glory, you have a 15% chance to basically get another free one, be cast as if it had 3 holy power. I can see that being quite good, but I guess it's a bit boring, if you know what I mean. It's not exactly the most engaging like these others are. Now, moving on to the last tree, this is what I've really been waiting for. All 3 talents are pretty epic, to be honest. Especially for Holy. the other specs, they look pretty damn good as well, to be honest. Right, for a start we've got Holy Prism. So, turn someone into a prism for holy energy. If the person in the prism is an enemy, they take 1.5k holy damage and radiate 1.2k healing to 5 nearby allies within 10 yards. Now, considering this is on a 20-second cooldown, you know, 8% of base mana, not exactly a lot at all. That's about, I think, a quarter of the amount that Divine Light costs. You know, so we're talking, if we compare that to now, Holy Prism would cost about 2k mana. Not a lot. And then obviously the 1.2k healing will scale with bolt power. If an ally is in the prism, they're healed for 3.5k and radiate 500 holy damage to 5 nearby enemies within 10 yards. I guess you could use this kind of for PvE more. I think it'd be better for. It would require probably a bit more skill to use though. I can imagine, for example, if I put it on a boss, it'd heal the people around the boss. You could probably forget about the damage because it'd do pretty much nothing, I'm assuming. It'd be good for healing melee that are stacking around a boss. The Holy Prism might also be good for, you know, a little instant, efficient kind of spot heal, I guess, that does a bit of extra damage as well. For Holy, I can see this pretty good talent overall, but for Prot or Ret, I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. Light's Hammer. Hurl a light infused hammer into the ground where it will blast a 10-yard area with holy magic. I can pretty much see this being like a consecration type of thing, but it also heals people that are in it. This is again good for probably Holy, Ret and Prot. You know, Holy, you can use it as a stack up AoE heal such as Holy Word Sanctuary. It does only last for 15 seconds on a 1 minute cooldown, so it's up for a quarter of the time, but maybe might scale a lot, which will be good for burst. For Prot Pallies, you know, you can pop it down to help gain AoE aggro. Also it helps keep your health up a bit. And for Ret Pallies, same again. PvP, more likely, you pop it down, stick in it, you get a bit of health back. You know, it does the damage for you as well. Execution Sentence is probably going to be the nicest one for Ret, to be honest. A hammer will fall from the sky. The closer it gets to the target, it will do more damage, more healing. When it reaches the target, do a finer burst of healing or damage to the target. So obviously if you use this on an ally, it will fall down, do an increasing amount of healing. If you pop it on an enemy, then, you know, it's going to fall down and do an increasing amount of damage with hopefully a huge burst at the end after it actually hits the target. I'm not sure yet, they might be able to move out of this, or it might be like a debuff on them, so depending on what it kind of is, we don't know yet. As soon as the beta comes out, I'm going to be straight on there, you know, testing out Holy, Pallies especially. I'll also be testing out Retribution, because I love Retribution myself, it's my off-spec. And I might try a bit of tanking, you know, as well, to get the protection side rounds of things. So I can't wait for that to be released, and as soon as the beta is released, I'll be keeping you all up to date with all of the Holy Pally stuff especially.